I can really only talk about politics from the perspective of me, a 39-year-old living in Tennessee, was born and raised here. I have moved around a bit. I lived in Arizona, I've lived in Massachusetts, I lived in North Carolina, and I lived in Australia for a year. And now that I'm back home, I've been living in Tennessee for the past 3 years. Our primary is going on right now for early voting. It is on August 6th. If you have not voted yet, you should do that. I gotta say, it's been an interesting time to be here in Tennessee in regards to politics. I kind of came back before Trump was reelected. So I got to see how it was like here just before Trump got reelected in 2024. And I gotta tell you, now that we're almost at the midterms, there's way less Trump flags. Like, I hardly see any of them out. I'm not saying that there's not Trump supporters in this area, because we all know that they're here. I just feel like people are not showing it like they used to. And I think that's a sign for what's going to happen in the midterms. Hopefully we have a free and fair election and everything goes off without a hitch, and the people decide. That's how it should be here. And it just seems like every day there's a new headline. There's the war in Iran, the war in Gaza, the war in Ukraine. It's overwhelming. It's exhausting. It's too much sometimes, and I really personally have to consume it very sparingly for my own mental health. I just feel like people are really tired. People are just tired of working so much, and there's a lot of people that are tuned out of politics, like working at some of these warehouse jobs that I have worked at in the past. It's one of those places where you can talk shit. Nobody's going to say anything. You can cuss. If you've ever worked at a warehouse job, you know what I'm saying. It's not very politically correct. People are so tired. And to try to have a political conversation with somebody is just another way to get exhausted. So nobody's even putting in the effort to discuss things anymore. And I think that's a real problem for us as a nation. We already are in our own media environments and consuming our own news. And it's already a major problem that way. The last thing we need to do is have this mentality about don't talk politics. I can't stand that, man. There's still a lot of people shockingly will say that, like, don't talk politics or religion and everything will be fine. Like, no, I think that's probably why this country is in the situation it's in, because we're not talking things out. We're not hashing things out with one another. We're all just like in our camps, and we're just going to see who shows up the most, and then we're going to call the other side names. And like, man, this is not a good recipe for a future of a nation. So we really have to right this ship. A big thing is money in politics. We really need to get that under control. I don't think we're really going to get to the root of a lot of these issues until we can get money out of our politics. It's corrupting our elections, and all of our elected leaders, I shouldn't say all of them, but a lot of them are corrupt. And, there's the 2010 decision of Citizens United. That was, in my opinion, like the turning point, and when this really got out of hand, because now corporations and private lobbying groups and political action committees can donate an unlimited amount of money to help support candidates. And that really makes it difficult for grassroots candidates to get in there, to get elected. They're fighting against so much money and influence. But, this midterm could show that maybe we've turned around on that. And maybe there could be some candidates that just have massive amounts of money going up against, grassroots candidates, and the grassroots candidates win. So I don't know. I think like the Senate race in Michigan is the one I'm following in regards to that. I don't know. I don't follow this stuff too closely, but I am like kind of keep my ear out with some of that stuff. And another thing in regards to the money is the members of Congress and the Senate being able to trade stocks. They have access to information that we don't have access to. And just to expose this even more so, there's actually apps now that you can download that will follow their trades, because they're beating the market at such an insane rate. I mean, come on, man. Like, we all see what's happening here. If you're going to serve as an elected official, it's a service to the community. You don't like look at it going in there to get rich, but so many of these people are doing that. Climate change is another thing that is getting out of hand. I mean, is every summer going to be like this now in the Northeast where it just looks like a red apocalyptic scene? Is that just the normal now? And we get these extreme heat waves here in the South where you like don't go outside at certain points of the day. And what are we going to do if, like, to me, when I'm here, I'm like, man, what if the power goes out? Like, there's people are going to be really up the creek here if the power goes out and AC isn't working. And then there's also the issue of a forest fire in the South. We're not really set up. We don't have that infrastructure here. And I just look around at all this green trees and the right conditions, a drought. I always say, like, oh, we're one event away from like people really waking up to it. But then it's just like we'll keep getting another event and another event, and people still aren't really taking it seriously. So, I mean, at what point are we gonna like really decide that this is something we need to address? People often say, well, what can you do about it? And they just sort of throw their hands up in the air and decide to do nothing. But the fact is, you can do something about it. You can stop polluting to hopefully slow it down, number one. And then you can also invest in infrastructure that can more easily deal with some of these storms. I mean, you can have certain contingency plans put in place to where there can be significantly less loss of life and less loss of property with proper infrastructure being built. So yeah, that's about all I want to say about climate change. This isn't just a big climate change video, but well, I don't want this to be a huge doom and gloom video, so I do want to talk about some things that I think are going in the right direction, and that is the youth turnout. So there's a lot of young people that are getting out to vote, getting politically involved, and I think that that's a good thing. I wouldn't want to be 18 right now in this era, but I'm glad to see these kids out here protesting and just having discussions with one another. There's a lot of really incredible Gen Z and people out there that I've worked with. So everybody hates on the younger generations. I'm not that old. I'm not old enough to be like these kids these days. I'm not like one of those. And I think most millennials are. I don't think we're going to be like that when we get older. The local activism is another thing that's refreshing to see. Here in a red state, there's a significantly larger presence at some of the left-leaning organizations within Tennessee that I've seen, and I think that that's a good thing. And just generally a lot of grassroots support and people getting involved in politics that have never really done anything like that, myself included. I've never been somebody that's always been involved since I've been 18, not at all. And I've gone to a few protests this year, the No Kings protests, and yeah, it is just cool to see that there are other people out there that think like you and that we're doing something, even if it is just walking down the street and holding a sign and gathering with like-minded individuals. That is something. That does move something. That does move the needle even slightly in the right direction. And even just making a YouTube video or putting something online, writing a post on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, that does help. And also trying to do it in a way that's not divisive, not like sharing one of these gotcha memes or one of these memes that does nothing but poke fun at the other side. Am I just clutching my pearls right now and trying to be like play the moral high ground? Because there's also there's a part of me that's like, these motherfuckers are rounding up people in the street and you're talking about being nice to them, but we're not going to win them over. So fuck them. I don't know, man. I don't have the answers. I'm just saying that it's something to think about, and just maybe try to think before you engage, before you pop off on somebody, start yelling. And I don't know. I don't do that. I don't try to engage when I go to these protests and I see two people arguing. I usually don't engage, and not everybody is. So you just got to decide where you fall. The important thing is that you're still trying to stay informed. And yeah. Another thing that I like to see is that the political parties seem to be changing right now. I don't know if that's for better or for worse. Only time will tell. But I do like to see that the DSA candidates are duking it out with a lot of the old centrist Democrats, and we'll see what happens, man. This is the democratic process. This is what happens in a midterm year, and this is what happens during the primary. The primaries are for their parties duking it out within the party. So I don't understand why there's like some of this talk in the mainstream media about, why this is a bad thing. I think they're scared. They're scared that the left is going to start to really take some power within the Democratic Party. So maybe that does make sense now when you start hearing talk like that on the mainstream media about how bad the DSA is, and yeah, we'll see what happens, man. Well, only time is going to tell, and yeah, maybe the interests are going to own this party for the end of time. And if that's the case, then maybe it's time to get a new party. We're hopefully moving towards something new, and hopefully we can just pick up the pieces. If both of these parties fall, we can pick them up and build something truly worth fighting for and to be proud of. Another thing I like to see is that I do feel like environmental awareness is starting to grow, and because of like the climate change is kind of becoming undeniable. I do feel like people on the right are turning a corner on that issue. And the big reason why is the military. Man, you can't have these multi-million-dollar aircraft and weapon systems just get taken out by a storm. You got to have logistics and support and contingency plans for when, a storm does come on shore and where you're going to move all that shit. Because you can't just like park an F-16 at Walmart. You got to have a hangar and a place to fly it and land. There's a lot of shit happening with all that. So another reason why I think environmental awareness is growing is because of the data centers. These things take a lot of power, they use a lot of water, and they pollute the environment oftentimes. And people don't want that in these rural communities. They're coming in, they're buying up these farmlands, and yeah, I think this is going to be one of those issues that unites people on the right and the left, and you can see it from the town halls and from the anger that I've seen of these town halls when it comes to these data centers being built. The future of AI has a lot of bright things that it could bring about. I mean, you're talking about potentially curing diseases or finding out, just the healthcare implications of it. There's so much that we're not thinking of, but I'm also weary of it because I know that the people involved with financing it aren't, in my opinion, are not the most trustworthy people. And I'm just worried if they're selling us snake oil here. Is this shit really going to work like it's supposed to? I mean, I don't know how this shit works though. I put my phone on, I press record, and I know how to edit some videos and I put it on YouTube. But when it comes to the back end and how this shit is managed, it's way over my head, and it's way over most people's heads. So I'm just a guy living in the world, talking some shit here, and I'm living at my parents' house, and I'm trying to make it in 2026 just like everybody else. I always think when it's politics, it's like some guy in a suit that really knows what he's talking about, and he's got like a perfect answer to everything. What I'm trying to say is that I've always been hesitant to talk politics with people because I feel like I'm not as qualified. But I think it's just realizing that I'm coming at it with a good intention. And that's what I think is important for all of us to do, is just to go into things with an open mind when we talk with people from the other side, and just try to listen to them and try to relate with them in some way. We all want the same things. We all want clean, healthy air. We want our children to be happy and healthy. We want opportunity to be able to provide for ourselves. I don't think a lot of people want a handout. And yeah, I don't know. I think I've talked too much in this video. This video is way longer. I'm going to cut this one way down, but I think I'll just kind of leave it there. That's a good note to end on. I think I had like 5 views in my last video, so I know nobody's going to watch this shit anyways, but thanks for listening. If you made it this far, this is just Mike talking, and I hope to see you in the next one.